that you pray for.
Pinhead is one of those horror icons. Even people who haven't seen Hellraiser know who Pinhead is, at least the imagery. But the character's never been Freddy or Chucky sort of maliciously killing. So kind of curious for both of you, do you consider Pinhead a villain or is it something beyond that?
I've always appreciated in the original Hellraiser movie, several of the movies actually, that the Cenobites had a certain neutral alignment. They were there to carry out their own designs and their own interests, and there's usually a darker moral villainy seen in a human character, and that feels like something that's very Hellraiser that we tried to keep with.
David and I had many conversations, about like what this priest would be feeling and experiencing and living in at any given moment with the different scenes, with the different actors, that I was working opposite. I really wanted to bring, like my own unique take on it. And with, many conversations that I had with David, he was so generous with his time, and with all of his ideas and telling me what his idea would be of what the priest was, and so that combined with then getting into the costume and the prosthetics and the whole thing, I was able to sort of really sink into this idea of what I thought she would be, and then we got the chance once we were actually filming to play around a bit and see what was working and what wasn't and what looked good on screen. And
David, the priest, obviously even crediting the characters, that is meaningful.
Yeah, a priest, hell priest. Look, it spoke to the regality of the character, and it was we always kept priest in the script. And if you follow the lore, it's even. I think Clive and Scarlet Gospels even suggested that priest hates the name Pinhead. The lead Cenobite was the name of the character in the original film. Pinhead was a title that the audience gave the character. And actually, many of the Cenobites, they're kind of layman's terms for what we see. The Chatterer. It's obviously there is a majestic quality to the Cenobites. They're both beautiful and terrifying, and there seems to be a vanity there that I think is really fascinating.
David, I noticed, that you kind of pulled a healthy amount of Hellraiser 2 lore into this film as well. Beyond Clive's original story and Clive's original movie, was Hellbound something that just stood out to you from the start?
Look, we just found our way into it in the story. I mean, some of it, when you're in a development space and you're taking it where it can go, sometimes you run into things. And at a certain point to us, it felt like the scale that was promised in Hellbound and the pulling back of the veil, like maybe a deeper glance in the labyrinth, was something that we wanted to pay homage to, something we wanted to feature in the film.
Standing there in the full garb, surrounded by your Cenobite buddies, was it just kind of a strange thrill to be like, oh wow, we're doing this, we're in full Hellraiser mode?
Oh, those group scenes where all 7 of us would be there, I mean, they were quite thrilling. I mean, the power that holds, like to quote that famous meme. Those were some really special moments because there were only a couple of days where we got to do all of that.
David, I wanted to ask you about the box. Of course, it's such an iconic piece of, I almost said piece of the puzzle, which is a terrible pun. But you evolve it a bit here and what it can change into. This isn't unprecedented. We mentioned Hellbound, but did it just seem to you guys that it's like, okay, this is a puzzle, why can't there be other configurations to it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Hellraiser is one of the most inventive franchises in horror. And so what I love about it is that the movies took big risks. They went in different directions. They explored the mythology in different ways. The idea that there are such sights to see is that to simply reproduce everything that we've seen the way we've seen it would, for me, to miss the point. Like, we should carry it in new directions. And I've always been fascinated with the potential of Puzzle Box. And we had the means here to do things with it that I think we haven't seen before in the movies. It's tactile. There are actual visible puzzles that can be solved on it, and the iterative quality of it was something that was unique to David Goyer, Ben Collins, Luke Petrowski's story, and I thought that was a wonderful framework for the movie.